What is up, you guys, and welcome back to the channel. Please do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, do everything necessary to get this thing to live long, thrive, and survive. Let's go ahead and take a look at XRP, guys, as we are coming up to a very interesting opportunity. It appears to be bullish here, but I think there may be a little bit of a fake out going on. Well, first of all, this is an immediate short-term time frame bullish signal, right? This triangle here may actually realize, but if it doesn't, then there is another opportunity here to be able to get long before an upside continuation on XRP, guys, and that it could be through the eyes of what could be here as a channel, right? So if we highlight the areas of this channel, right, guys, it should be right around here, like this, right? You'll see it up here right now on your end. We're gonna just go ahead and color fill that real quick, right? Just like this here, guys. So if you see this channel, right, this is indicating that there could be some pressure towards the downside, but in a bullish fashion. This is a bullish formation, and it does indicate continuation towards the upside. Now, this is also a bullish formation, but what I'm having trouble, guys, is if you kind of align your bars like this, right? If you align that, let's just get this out of the way here. Sorry, we're just going to get the channel out of the way. If you align this like this, then you're going to notice that we're not really touching down the second touch that's required in order for us to be validated within this formation. Two tests of the downside, not on this test, not on this one here. This is not a test. That's just where it starts. Okay. So the next thing is, typically speaking, right, these triangles tend to realize their behavior at around 65 to 75% to the apex of the triangle. That's right about now. So if we wait for another test to the downside, I guess we can figure out another one down here, but then are we building a dead cat bounce, right? So that would be a little bit bearish. Should it be that this thing starts to continue towards the upside, then I believe that there may be one of two things happening here, guys. Either we resist right from that bottom end, right from the bottom end here, or of this line, right, or the top end of the channel itself, and then the triangle would actually realize a bearish nature instead of the bullish nature in which it really is, thus transforming this play into a channel, right? Now, the reason why I'm saying this, guys, is because we're very close to the daily closure, okay? So the daily closure is important, and it's one that we should be aware of, okay, guys? So 2 hours and 39 minutes to close the daily time frame, and we've already decompressed, already past its 50%. Should it be that we continue to decompress here, guys, that means that the downside on this could be into the areas of passing 239, even into the areas of maybe around 235, right? So if we look at historical price here and we kind of bring up a little bit of a wider time frame, then we're going to be able to see what could be in the workings for this, right? So I think, guys, that if we're passing the areas of around 235, which are roughly at this wick right on top there, then you can see that right below that, these two wicks would be the next ones to kind of observe, and that would be in the areas of around 232-ish, right? So if we look at that $2.32 range, check this out, right? So now that we put in the drawings here, go back to the 30-minute or hourly time frame, wherever it is that we were, and observe the workings of that channel, then check this out, right? So if we say that we were about to, potentially make this upside here, potentially resist at that 243 level, where there could be a fake out on this, right? This thing could fake out and then just come back down to the bottom side here so that we can start the channel working. And then what would that be located? Well, if you take a look at look to the right, look at the target over there, 232.94. So that's very, very curious to me that would be located right at the bottom side of this channel. Should it be that we kind of cancel out the triangle, right? Let's just say that we got this out of the way, and this would be what would be working out here, right? Not only that, guys, is that I think that there actually may be the workings of a smaller time frame, head and shoulders in there too, right? Take a look at this, right? Shoulder, we got a shoulder up in here. Even if it goes up to this upside here, guys, it's still considered to be a shoulder in this regression here. So let's just go ahead and measure that shoulder, see what we have towards that downside, right, guys? So let's go ahead and take a look at this in this fashion here and kind of measure it up, right? So if we were to include it, it would be on the right-hand side of the outermost shoulder here, right? So that would be right around here. And when we put it to that downside, guys, sorry, I need to make sure that to put it right there, right? So then when we put it to this downside here, check it out. Look at the target to the downside that we're getting, right? 233.13, getting us super close to that 232.94 that we're we're getting here from not only the weekly range pivot points, not only the fact that we're getting it from this head and shoulders, and it's also the bottom side of this the bullish channel, right, guys? So that would be honestly the area for us to kind of come back down here and then get us another upside run. So could there be an opportunity for us to potentially pick up some risk here, right around the 232 or 233 area in the near term? I'm talking about maybe within the next, remember, right, we're still closing the daily time frame here in about 2 hours and 36 minutes. So if it does do that, guys, then check this out, right? So let's go ahead and kind of, I mean, I'm saying that XRP is actually poised, it's positioned here in a very, very bullish manner. In fact, it's not just positioned in a bullish manner, and I'm here to announce to you guys that the Omega LITE is officially up and working, and for everyone who already purchased it, you are going to be getting your access here today and tomorrow, right, guys? We are official, and we're going here, guys, and this is what it looks like right now. And take a look at the 40-minute time frame here within XRP of the Omega LITE. It's suggesting that the bear phase is over right now, right, guys? So we were in a present bear phase active, and now that that's kind of completed, we got the cloud in green, guys. We have the complete crossover, and now we're suggesting continuation towards the upside, despite the fact that we have some downside coming in. It's all good, guys. It's all good. It's no problem, okay? So now if we go ahead and come back in, remember, guys, that you want to make sure, guys, make sure now that we're only going to be available, this is going to be available here for only a limited time. Only a limited amount of seats are going to get it, and make sure to get it at the top right-hand side at that link right up there, guys. But it's incredibly cheap, guys, and it's absolutely one to protect your lungs, okay, guys? So Omega LITE now available, guys. I'm super proud to announce it. Next, let's go ahead and focus in on the targets that we're talking about here for XRP. Okay, so if XRP bottoms out, right, within the next 2 hours and 35 minutes to that area of around 232 that we're talking about here, that means that we would essentially be turning around a pretty bearish candle, right, guys? But I think there may be a reason as to why we're actually pumping or decreasing all this value faster than it should, because the daily time frame, we usually tend to decompress during the last hour of the trade. So if we're already here an hour and a half early, I think that there may be something here. So here it is. When you open up a new bar, right? When you open up a new bar, there is about a 60 to 70%. This is the new bar to this bar, right? This one right here. There is a 60 to 70% chance that you can get a 30 to 50% prior bar retrace when it does open. Okay, so if you can see here, this new bar, this daily that's going to close here in 2 hours and 34 minutes, only retraced a little bit, and then it continued towards that upper bound, right? But if it is decreasing this fast here and outside of these statistics, I'm wondering here if that's actually going to try to retrace, guess what? The 30% of the prior bar with the 60 to 70% probabilities. Guys, that's actually, it's possible here, right? If we do get that, then that would mean that there would be an immediate bounce from that area towards the upside, thus closing another green bar, because it would decompress on the last hour to its 50%. Guys, you feel me? Right? So if it comes down over here to 232, that means that on the last hour of the trade, where it's typically the area where it decompresses to its 50%, that would then decompress to its 50%, guys, and that would be located above the areas of around 239 to 242, thus creating a bullish closure on this daily bar. We want to make sure that we can close above that 241 area, guys, so that we can continue towards that upside. It looks like there is an inflection there, right? It looks like it's all over the place here. 243-ish, 241. Let's make sure to get a bullish closure over that so we can continue on that price action towards the upside. Okay, guys, now check this out. Remember that we're still within a bullish setup here, the one that I'm thinking, right? So the reason why it's a lot of you are going to say, yeah, man, huge head and shoulders, and also that's one big ass ascending triangle, and that's typically bearish. Well, yes, it is, except that we did this right here, right? So that converts this play into a wolf, and that wolf inverts the bear play and it makes it a bull play now, guys. Okay, so if that bull play is in line, then I think that XRP right here is getting ready for a potential upside, whether it's today or tomorrow or the next day. Regardless of the fact, it's actually a 2-day time frame formation. It's going to take its time here for it to fulfill, but guess what? We're getting getting the declining volume here, which is critical for a formation like this, we're also getting, right, we're also getting this massive upside price action, and we're sitting just upside of the 50% retrace of the entire zone. Good stuff. We got the wolf going, right, and the immediate short-term time frame potential of a channel that can catapult price action towards the upside. The next question is, does that immediate short-term channel that we looked at here on the hourly or the 30-minute, does that actually send price action towards the upper side? And more importantly, does it add into similar targets of that 280, 270, right? Let's find out now. In order for you to gain that target, right, from this type of formation, simply measure a trend line from the top end of it to the very bottom end of it, and then start to imply where the potential breakout could be. So seeing that we have this downside here, right, it looks like it lasted, 9:30 p.m. Pacific time to just about 12:30, 9, 10, 11, 12. You have a 3.5 hour period, right? So say from this point around here, let's just say that it went there at 2:30 p.m. Pacific time. We got that top end, right? 2, 3, 4, 5. That would be right at about 5:30 p.m. And that could mean that around 5:30 p.m., which is going to be roughly around here, right? That means that we could be bottoming out on this channel and then another 3 hours to the upside, 6, 7, 8. 8:30 p.m., say around right about here, right? That could be the area where we would start to break out. So if 8:30 p.m. is the area where we break out, let's apply this trend line to that top end. Okay, so now this is telling us actually that we will be reaching more in the lines of around 252. That's cool. Now, if it is 252, let's go back to that macro to the macro chart and find out what 252 looks like. Well, we already had marked it off prior to this video, guys, from the past videos. Check it out. We were already talking about the breakout from this area of 221 to 227 to reach the resistances of none other than, you got it, 250 to 257.36, and that is looking pretty damn promising, guys. We are noticing here that the 2-day time frame also has a retrace in line right now, guys. So that means that the retrace of the buy daily would start to happen roughly at 2 hours to the close. So another 40 minutes, adding to the pressure of the daily time frame to the downside of what we're talking about, right? So the 2-day time frame would decompress to its 50%. That is roughly at this target here. Let's take a look. Right here. That's showing that you would be at around that 235 area. The daily time frame is showing some pivots at around that 232, 233, and you have your not 382 Fibonacci ratio at guess where? 233. Nice. All right, so we're looking at an immense amount of confluence here, guys, and I do think that there should be pressure to the upside, even continuing based on the buy daily time frame. That means that we're about to get a shift of volatility and momentum towards the upper hand here, guys. I think we're going to go up after some immediate short-term time frame pressures. I get it. Okay, guys. So now remember that there are still dynamics to be played here in the immediate short term, right? So is it just a 1 day and 2 day that we have closing? Well, there's a 2 day, 2 hours and 29. We have the 3 day in about a day, nothing yet there, right? And the 2 day, nope, nothing there. What about the 5 day? 1 day, nothing yet, right? What about that daily time? Okay, the weekly time frame and the bi-weekly, oh, those are looking like they're around, kind of closing here. So if they're closing in about a day and 3 hours, what's the weekly range for the prior bar? Well, check it out. It's already telling us that the upside on the weekly time frame as we approach its closures should be roughly at around 250. Guys, that is absolutely amazing. I do think that we have some upside continuation on this. It's going to be jagged here and there. It's going to show a lot of volatility here and there. Notice as well, right, that the bi-weekly is also kind of closing here. So we have to worry about its 50% retrace, which is also taking us down to the areas of roughly 236 to 230. All good. We're going to cross the bridge when we get there. It doesn't mean that it's going to happen because we don't know what this bar is going to look like when it closes. Let's watch out. Let's wait up for now. Okay, guys. But from the immediate short term, let's take a look at volatility versus momentum and see what it has to say. Sorry about that. Let's go ahead and take a look at the 10-minute. All right, so getting rid of all the drawings here, right? Let's put this thing on auto so that we can actually see the price action here. All good. All right, so yeah, 10-minute time frame looking like it has a little bit of a downside pivot here. We're kind of creeping out of this. Remember that volatility and linear like this, guys, you want to make sure that you can use this as your acceleration, right, guys? If we're accelerating towards the upside, that doesn't mean upside price. It means that we are expanding, meaning that more participants are choosing to participate. participate, right? Buying and selling, both that. They add to the volatility. That's why it's volatility, okay, guys? Now, the direction bias is given to you by stochastic momentum. All right, stochastic momentum is giving you a slight bearish feel here. Okay. What about the 5 minute? So the 5 minute time frame is kind of at a turning point, right? It looks like it still has some potential upside to run, but does it feel like it's kind of declining like this? Maybe so. What about the 15 minute time frame? 15 minute time frame still has some upside to go, and it looks like we're still contracted. So that contraction means that there is very little interest to the upside for the immediate short term. 30 minute time frame, however, just closed, right? And this is the new open here 3 minutes ago. Guess what? Upside pivot. And we do have contraction here though, so it's a little weak. All right. What about the hourly? Okay, so the hourly time frame is also kind of looking pretty, it's looking like it does have some continuation to the upside here, right? But it's completely contracted. Does it come back down? Maybe so. Let's continue. We got to get clear answers somewhere else. All right, we got a downside pivot on the buy hourly time frame, right? And it's contracting too. So the downside is also doesn't have that much interest in it, right? Interesting. Here's the next thing. Your 3 hour time frame is closing in 2 hours and 26 minutes. Okay, so that is closing alongside your daily time frame too. Now, what does that mean? That means that the 3 hour time frame, right, would decompress. Guys, we would also decompress at around, I would say, 10 to 15 minutes to the closing of this bar, right? It'll decompress to its 50% of the prior bar. So the prior bar is where at the 50%. Man, let's go ahead and put this analysis here. You're gonna start crapping your pants over here right now. No, I'm just kidding. So that's leading towards around the areas of 240. Okay, so that's giving us downside targets as well as it kind of creeps up to the upside here, maybe 242. So 242, why does that rhyme so well? Well, check it out. 242 is the resistance on top here. Right? So if we go back to that other chart and we see the 3 hour time frame, yeah, we could peekaboo right at its top side, which is 242. We decompress, come back down to the 50%, right? Now, if it doesn't work at the 50%, the next area, that pivot would have to be the one to work out for us. So in all reality here, then we have a little bit of a range, right? So it's still within the 240 area, 240.39, 240.79. Let's go ahead and take a look at the volatility here on the 4 hour time frame. I want to know what else we have, right? So, all right, let's go to the 4 hour time frame and see what's up. So 4 hour time frame is giving us, this actually feels like we kind of overbought. It's starting to turn bearish a little bit here, guys. And most importantly, the 4 hour bar, it's at its 50% of the prior bar. So that could be resistance right away. 6 hour time frame, looking like it's got some downside here, guys. It's kind of favoring the downside, right? And we're also closing a little bit of a red bar. So that may have some downside too, right? And it's already kind of accelerating towards that downside. So we got to watch out with that 8 hour time frame. Same situation here. The 8 hour time frame is closing in about 2 hours and 24 minutes. And look at this. We're at the 50% of the prior bar, and it's an inside red bar that's kind of bearish, right? With a downside bias on stochastics and a little bit of acceleration here, we may be able to see the downside even in 8 hours. So far we have 8 hours of downside. What about the 12 hour? Well, maybe the 12 hour is looking okay. It feels like it has still a little bit of downside. Where is the absolute upside, right? Where is the absolute upside here? All right, so it's looking like the daily time frame has that absolute upside. Good stuff. That means that we have just about a day's worth of downside ahead in order for us to decompress and continue towards the upside. So where would that land though? You know, the ATR low of either your daily or your 12 hour, because this is questionable, right? So if it is that we're going to use the 12 hour bar, let's keep it a little on the hopium side, right? I don't know. However that lands, right? Either the 12 or the 8 hour, right? So the 12 hour time frame would tell us that we have about 14 cents, 15 cents to the downside, depending on where it closes. So say this thing closes 15 cents, right? Say if it closes at around 243-ish, we're thinking that we're going to go to the 242 area, right? So if we close at 242, well, that tells us that we would be dropping to the areas of about 228, 229. And we already stated what that 232 is, right? Remember, guys, the 232 is the very bottom side of this channel here, which is also the very bottom side of the Fibonacci extension that we took a look at within this drawing. Oh my goodness, I forgot where the drawing is, but it's the knot 382 physical formation that we got, guys, right over here. This is where it is, 233. All that confluence, man. All that confluence. Wait, there's one more thing though. What if we used the formation to kind of determine the downside here? Well, we did already, right? And we also noticed that we had like a 240 in line, right? So if we do have a 240 in line, how can we figure that? Well, there are 3 targets that we can use here to the downside for this formation. Say that we're breaking down from this point here. Same treatment. Use a trend line, right? Mark it to the downside here, and we could just apply this from whenever we're going to break out. So if we are to break out from this side here, right, from the, up here at 242, well, then it looks like the downside could be at around 237 here, which is confluent to this bottom side. Now, if we're looking at an immediate support being right up here, then that creates your range. So let's go ahead and use that range just like this to the bottom side of the expected value from the formation. And now, magically speaking, your 240 appears right here. Interesting. From the target number 1. Good stuff. So I see that we could be running here, guys. I see that we could be running here, but there is kind of a formation happening within it too, right? So in this formation here, remember that we would actually go towards the upside, consolidate a bit, and then it would move towards the upside, specifically speaking, around 252. I hope that this analysis works out, right? I hope that you can kind of see what the behavior of things can be, right? And remember that our overall upside, we spoke about right now, right, guys? We literally just said it right here. There's your target of 252, and our upside target should be that one that we spoke about like 4 days ago, 250 to around 257.36 with a center bound of 253. Nice, guys. I love it so much. I hope this analysis works out for you. If any questions, please, you know where to reach me, right? Hit those ATWs in the chat right now, man. If you watched it all the way, I know this was a little bit of a longer video. I'm sorry, but I hope it does work out. Okay, guys, and remember to get your the Omega Lite, guys. It is officially going, right? And we're going to be assigning those to the people that already purchased them and give them the access to their advance, and also potentially getting the Omega 1 done in these coming days too, guys. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much, and we will speak here very soon. Okay, team. Peace out, everybody. Adios. Please take whatever I do show and iterate within these videos as just a form of entertainment, as I cannot suggest for you to buy, sell, or hold any assets whatsoever, ever. I need you to do your own due diligence, and everything will be cool. But with that said, team, I wish you well, a very good rest of your night and or day, and I will catch you at the bell on Monday. Adios, team. Oh, yeah.